What is up, Scott? You're on mute if you're here. Walter, what's up, man?
What's up, Travis?
There we go. Mike, good to see you, man.
Oh God dang. Mike Fisher's driving like Travis Wells and zooming. This is scary.
Oh, my camera's not on. What in the world is going on?
That's all right.
Hold on, it's still blurry here. All right, we're good.
There we go. Don't even have your property profits lit up in the background.
My dog chewed up the cord. No,
Dang.
no lie. Like custom sign, see it behind me. Dog just
Right.
chewed the cord in half. I need to get it fixed. So.
You just rewire them together.
Yeah, but there's like a connector that makes it dim up and down too,
Oh,
and that's gone also. So I don't know if she swallowed it or yeah, no, trust me, I just put it back together, but everything's missing. So, thanks for hopping on. There'll be some people hopping on through this. But good to see you, man.
always. How are
And
things going for you?
good. And
Yeah.
just to start this call, I just right now got a voicemail from a lady that we mailed years ago. This happens like every day.
Hmm?
Check this out. You hear this? No?
No, no.
Okay.
Oh,
And
barely, but
anyway, she's like, I don't know, she's a Chinese lady or something. She's like, you mailed me a few years ago about my house on Marguerite Street. I'm ready to sell. I'm like, all right.
it's it's amazing that it's like we need to do more video testimonies of it because people don't believe us that they'll get mailers, years later that that they paid for, years prior to, and they want to look at direct mail and that stuff in a 30, 60, 90-day window, and then they don't ever look at it again as, cost effectiveness. um so it's just kind of one of those things as it goes through it.
Yeah.
So
What I guess so here's my thing. Here's why I thought it'd be cool if you came on here. This will be recorded
mm,
too, for the people that are gonna be watching. But people are doing PPL, they're doing
mm.
PPC, they're doing all the stuff, which I freaking hate PPL. I think everybody's competing against themselves in PPL right now. But
as
yeah.
I as we get deeper into it and I understand it more, they are competing against themselves. There's ways that it's coming down that cross pollinates with it, but ultimately the cheap leads everybody has. So if you're playing in that pool, yeah, it's all cross pollinated, and usually those are the ones that they fill out 10 different, 15 different forms, and it all comes down, and nobody buys in that area, whatever it is. If you're playing nationally and you're playing in pockets that are less populated so you can get your cost per bid down. Don't get into the highly competitive markets. Get into those secondary and tertiary markets where you can still wholesale or wholesale at a good clip. And then actually pay for their high end leads. Their speed to lead is faster. So like for us, if we sent out direct mail, we qualify the lead, we post it immediately as soon as it's qualified. If we are utilizing our form fills, which we just turned our PPC and stuff like that on, I think we had 18 over the weekend, and we just turned it on Friday. Now that's a person wanting to sell, motivated to sell, and they signed up, and we qualified them with our call center. Yes, it's going to be a $300 lead, but it's the freshest and the most motivated. But on the other side of the cheaper you buy them, the more cross pollination there is. The longer they've been sitting on the market, the more ability that they've signed up for other things. So I always, like I tell people, I'm like, I'd be in four or five different ones because each one is generating their own. Like ours is local home solutions is what we're nationally doing. So we've had people signing up specifically off of ours. They've been listed within 4 hours of them filling out that form. So those are the good ones. The other one, there's a lot of pollination to it, but it's still the quality of the lead to the money spent, and then how many dollars you spend to how many deals you close. That's the biggest thing is you got to track all the KPIs on the backside to make sure it's worth it.
Yeah.
and then have multiple channels, turn these up, turn these down, and it's still a guessing game.
Yeah. Walter, have you ever used mail?
I haven't, but I've worked for a company that did,
Yeah.
and I've got those leads.
Yeah. How'd you like them?
It's like either super hot,
Yeah.
but it's a time game for sure. It's not something like it's not a PPC lead or something like that where it's immediate. It's kind of like you're saying, this lady hits you up out of the blue, kind of, because you planted
Right.
the seed 8 months ago, 6 months ago, kind of thing.
So here's what I learned in general about this business, and it took me. We always feel like it takes us. I think, and if you are in the same boat as me, it feels like it takes longer than it should to learn certain things, like to learn the lesson, right?
School
And
of Hard Knocks is a nasty little.
right. Well, I feel like this business really promotes like dopamine in the way that we're on these short feedback loops,
Mhm.
right? Like it's almost like we buy leads, and I say we because we've all done it. If we're not doing it now, it's like we all buy leads like it's the lottery. Right, it's like
Mhm.
I'm gonna call that one and it's gonna be the banger, it's gonna be the deal, and it's this like short feedback loop. And I
Right.
think that like prohibits wealth, right? I think the longer feedback loops pay the best, but then there's the medium in the middle. It's like, well, how are we going to eat with
Mhm.
long feedback loops, right? And I think it's just you gotta eat lean and build a system with the long feedback loop. I think that's the answer, and I think mail is one of the forms that provide that.
Yeah.
Right. And it to be honest with you, it all starts with data. All inbound lead generation starts by looking in the right spot. And data is heavily driven with competition. And what I mean by that statement is you can get into something that is the best data and it's performed really well, and then all of a sudden it just goes to shit. Why does it go to shit? Well, possibly, I walked out on stage and said, "Oh man, this is the best data." The word got out, that that's the best data, and then all of a sudden competition's on it, and it just drives it right into the ground because everybody else kind of doing the same thing in the same area. So it's really good to do your homework, especially with local RIAs. Just kind of walk through them every quarter, every once in a while when they have one, and just ask basic questions of, hey, what are you up to? What are you doing? How are you finding leads? And you bring that back to, into your input of, this is what all my competition's doing around me. When you go walk a property, ask them for their old mail. And there's little things in that to learn what the competition's doing, and then you find a way around that competition. If they keep running the same play, you're going to find a play that works better, and finding that is where the gold actually is.
Yeah, I like a system that. And does that make sense what I said, Walter? Do you agree with
Mhm.
that? And I'm just finishing that loop there that we.
Exactly. It's funny you say that because literally when I make calls, I'm like, this is 20 grand. This is 20
Yeah.
grand. Like literally every time I dial, I'm like, this could be 20 grand right here. That's literally my
Right.
Scratching them off.
call.
And that screws us
Uh,
up as humans, like and as entrepreneurs. Literally is like the downfall. But it's hard not to,
Yeah.
right? And I
well,
I had to learn that too. Even when
and
I
I
started. Do what? What's up, Scott?
I was gonna go back to one of the things that Brandon taught you, years ago when we were doing direct mail. Is not every deal's a deal.
Yeah.
Whether you're doing 4, 6, or 8 grand on something, you're spending money on that. You're trying to force the deal, and something that it takes a little bit. Because I was talking to another client earlier today that's in Maricopa County in Phoenix, and he's like, "Oh, I wholesale around 12 to 15K." I'm like, "Your competition's doing 40 to 50."
Yeah.
And he's like, kind of paused back and looked at me, and I go, "You're undercutting yourself, and you're not making any money because you're not negotiating hard enough." But oftentimes, just like we take time to learn to make this stuff work, sometimes we got to get past those hurdles by utilizing coaching, as you, or the stuff that you've learned, and we've already got found success on. But it's that same thing of, we hold ourselves back thinking that this next phone call is 20K, and then of that we try to force it, or we try to push towards it to make sure that one works, instead of going, nope, not there, let's move to the next one. and
Well, and
and you
here's
get it
our energy. Like this is
right.
like imagine this being all your energy in the day.
Mhm.
And then you take all the bull crap calls, the bull crap leads, bull crap, and then you get the banger that comes in and you're done.
Right.
That's legit how it works. And I learned
Oh,
that you mentioned Brandon. When he was coaching me, I'm like, bro, because I'm a closer, right?
right.
We're paying all this mail. I'm making money, I think. Like, and I'm not profitable at the time, but I'm making money.
Right.
Like it's raining. And he's like, nah, dude, take one out of those 10 deals and just make 20 G's.
Right.
Right? And like, hell no. I did a deal with that dude one time because we were calling his leads and I had a deal we could make 15K. I was like, bro, let's just split it because we were splitting it. We were handling it,
Yeah.
split it. And he's like, nah. And I was like, what do you mean? We
Hmm.
just split it 75, 75 and just keep rolling. He's like, nah, like just keep going. And I'm like, are you serious? And he's like, I told you our minimum's 20K. Just keep going. There was no thought in the dude's mind
Right.
whatsoever. I was like, okay.
Well, and that's one of the things I talk to him about quite a bit is like, hey, don't use your area, the demographic in your area and your ability to take a 15 and say no and get it back at 20
Yeah,
because you don't have much competition out there. In these
yeah,
other areas, if you get them to say no, like you tell somebody no on 15, they're not coming back because somebody else is going to do it for 15.
yeah.
And in some of these competitive areas, you have to be careful with that. And that's often with coaching as we go. Um, that's one of the things is we know what we're really good at in our area. We're kings of our area, and then we try to go teach people how to do it in theirs. We have to
Yeah.
take time to learn their area
Well,
because they're
that's a
all
good
so
point.
different. Yeah.
Well, and that's a good point. That's why the data matters. Like going back to
Mhm.
what you said, I guess you had data in these different areas on what kind of spreads people are making and should set
Yeah.
their bar to.
And oftentimes you want to reverse engineer it. It's when you come into the situation, and if you're spending 6K on marketing to get one deal, you need to be, that much further above is the spread in your deal. So, like Brandon's like 2,800, per deal is what he's spending in his area to get typically he's around 36, 38,000 on a deal after all said and done. But he if his suddenly goes from 20, 2,800 to say 6,800, that's eaten into his margin. So he needs to negotiate more into that to find that spread to make sure that he's continuing with that, 6, 8, 10x that he's comfortable with.
So me and you crushed it in Corpus
Mhm.
whenever I was doing it, but then we moved to San Antonio where Raul's at,
Right.
and like I struggled because it was so competitive.
But that's also when you learned that, a 4K deal isn't worth it there because you just spent 5K to get it.
Yeah,
That either negotiate deeper or
keep going.
pass. Right.
Yeah.
And that's Brandon's a pass guy. You're a, hey, let me negotiate more. You want to get to the close because that's where your dopamine hits the hardest. Like I did that. And Brandon's just like he's all about the numbers. He wants that cycle of money. He pays this much, and we'll just use mail. I pay this much out of mail. I generate this many leads. That many leads gets me this many deals. I make this much per deal, and that money is exiting off and filling up another coffer while he's having that life cycle of the deals. To where he's just constantly feeding that extra money, and he's making sure that he's floating in that 8 to 10x ROI.
Well, and Raul, I think you might be mailing in San Antonio soon.
Yeah.
That's why I brought that up. Is like you just got to remember in these highly competitive areas, like your cost per deal is going to be much higher. So like it got to be a deal, but you'll get bigger deals.
Right.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was, talking to Scott about. Like actually focusing on, two zip codes that are near me that I see a lot of action happening and turnover, just hyper focusing on that where I can actually, if I need to, I can go run out and see it. Maybe
Yep.
get face to face and actually close them right then and there.
Yeah, well, and they got that VA center that I like that qualifies them. Or in worst case, it just gives you like a transcription. It's like, hey, we want this amount, we want to sell. Here's our motivation. I know I still help with mail leads sometimes. I've been freaking busy with these parks we've been buying, but but when I do, I like that they use your system because like I'll go in there and I'll be like, like I don't know. This probably isn't right because people are like, "Oh, the leads." I don't. Like when there's a system in place, and they're like, "Yes, I want to sell. I'm in a hurry." Like I see all that, I'm like, "Okay, these are all priority."
Right.
I start calling them. If there's time, maybe I'll tweet old dumb on the other ones, But
Well, it's almost like in you want to almost get to that like almost an AI scoring model to where the
yeah,
AI can listen to the call and be like, yeah, likelihood to sell this one's here. To
yeah,
where it's going to start to learn and you can pinpoint once you generate so many inbound leads, like that was our problem in Corpus was I think the last month that we mailed where you were like, dude, turn it off. I'm overwhelmed was I think we had 760 inbound calls and 360 of them were qualified.
yeah.
So you were way overwhelmed at that situation. You only can feed through the best, so, and which changed you. After that, you were like, oh, I built a bigger, better system that completes me. But like going back to like cost per deal and that, I mean, what Mike was doing in Colombia, him and I have talked about it before. Um, like he was doing it through Homevestors. It was costing him 10K a lead or 10K a deal. And you want to find where your marketing's working the best to where, your market has a number that it should be floating around. Certain parts of the season it's going to come up, certain parts it's going to come down when, with competition. But you should know within a quick amount of time whether this is going to work or it's not, because so many phone calls usually equal so many deals equal so much money, and you know what your cost per deal is. That's the biggest thing is knowing your numbers on that back end.
Mike, are you still running any kind of mail campaigns right now?
Yes, we're still running mail.
Y'all still do pretty well at mail, right?
We do pretty well. It just switched over to AI mail, and those leads have been pretty crummy. A lot of retail
Yeah,
because I think we're hitting people that we haven't hit before, but they're just kicking tires. So
yeah.
it hasn't
Yeah,
really hasn't really come to fruition yet. So I don't know.
I went beginning of the year Columbia with Jared Coe, in Boone County, and we struck out January, February. I shouldn't say struck out, but just really didn't generate a good lead quality then. But in April, we changed and went back to the system we were using last year. And we sent out 2,500 mailers, and he had two under contract, and then two more pending. So, it's one of those that it's sometimes that data set just can be off, and I think everybody's on AI. And so it's kind of one of those, it's like finding the data set that everybody's missing on.
Well, and
Yeah.
you have a point there. I have not liked anything AI that I've used for leads or data yet. Like I've tried out so much stuff. Like I can't even say even these PPL providers now have AI scoring and all the crap, but that don't
Right.
matter because they're all buying the same bull crap. That's the problem there. So who knows if it works or it doesn't work because
Right.
1,000 people have the same lead. But on you've sent me AI data in the past, and I like the other data better. You know?
Well, it all depends. So like right now I'm sending out quite a bit of data that is non-AI scored. But what we're doing is going after historical data, stacking lists that are typically where the sellers are. Um, but by not using AI, you're finding what the AI is weeding out. And there is a big thing with right place, right time. If they're off of everybody else's radar and you just happen to hit them, you're going to be one of the few mailers or few contacts that has reached out to them, because of the cream that AI typically supports based off of the history of what's typically selling in the area. Doesn't mean that that's going to convert with, it's the same as the weather, trying to predict the weather. So as you utilize AI in these different situations, it's going to distort the data based off of what it's done in the past, not what it could be doing in the future. Um, it's just one of those that it's hard to read. Is it going to be the most accurate all the time? No. So a lot of what we're doing is just going back to the stacked list of, the typical pools of people that will be selling their house, or selling something at some point. We just don't know when. With our bigger, our bigger budgets. Like Brandon, I mean, we pulled 60,000 lines of data. We mailed 20,000 a month, all new addresses for a quarter. And we jumped up his call quality and his lead flow by 20% over the last quarter with no AI.
Yeah. Absentee
Mhm.
landlord, high equity.
Yeah, tired landlords, dumb landlords,
Yeah. Yeah.
senior owner occupieds, which, that one for most areas, they only go back 30 years of ownership. So you need to be able to include the unknowns in it, or what's broken or missing data in the area. I mean, the best thing you can absolutely do if you're going to pull your own list is really niche down and try pulling in several areas. Pull it by city and compare, pull it without any filters, look at it. You want to continue to pull in the area to figure out what's missing. So this is a great example. In North St. Louis, there's this little pocket called Jennings. Great buy and hold area. 3 2s, 3 1s. You can buy them for under 100K. They rent for 13 to 1500 a month, Section 8 or not. But it's a great cash flowing community. The mayor is an investor. You can't find the data.
Yeah.
So if you type in Jennings and it'll come back 0 houses. You type in the zip codes that are into Jennings, you'll get the houses that are in those zip codes, but outside of the city of Jennings. But if you go in and use a drawing tool like on PropStream or ListSource, and draw the map of Jennings, there's all the properties. It's
Do you have
crazy.
any customers in Vegas?
Yes, Vegas sucks. I'll be honest with you. It's one of those. The problem with Vegas right now is all of the new construction, they're undercutting or buying points back. So they're selling new construction at such a cheap rate to make sure they get it off their books and continue making money that the old stuff is sitting there for 300 days sometimes. So if you go and flip a house there, I was just talking, Mike Walzwikoff, his brothers in Vegas, they do a lot of flipping out there, and we've pretty much stopped because the response rates suck, various other problems. It's just those temperamental markets like that, they get really hot for about a 3 month period, and then they're dog shit for, pardon my French, for 6, 12, 18 months. And then all
I
of a sudden
think
they'll get
that's
real hot again.
the same thing that's happening in San Antonio.
Mhm.
All
Certain
the
spots,
surrounding areas, they're just
yeah.
doing
And
new builds at 3 and 4%.
mhm. And that's what, you want to look at days on market, is a great indicator of the health of the environment there. Because days on market are going to tell you when the used stuff is moving. And ultimately, if you're wholesaling to a flipper or you're wholesaling to, buy and hold really doesn't matter because they're just going to repair it to a certain situation. But if you're wholesaling to a flipper, or somebody that, you're going to wholesale it, you got to look at the days on market because that's going to tell you pretty well what that market, how fast that property is going to move, and then the price point that you're going to need to sell it at.
Do y'all have any and my biggest reason I wanted to bring you in is so that people in the community have a male person if they're not already using it and introduce you and also just kind of put it out there about these feedback loops, right? And like
Right.
I think it's just a sickness in entrepreneur. It is what it is, and I think mail's one way to help combat that. But and y'all have any questions for Scott while we got him here?
Hey Scott, have you pulled an AI list for a market and compared it to like a legacy list that you would build?
We have KPIs on multiple markets, side by side comparisons of AI and non-AI. I don't. I know, and I can talk to Nick about this. Is one of our a really good coach with us, and he does a lot of our AI. He's really good at measuring that stuff side by side. And I know we went back last year and tested some stuff that prior to us changing the data company that we were buying the data from. So we were buying from First American Title for REI Smart Data, and then we went to buying it from Dark Knight. Well, it completely changed our demographic of response rates in areas in the Midwest. We went down on the seaboard, the East Coast, West Coast, Gulf Coast. We went up, kind of like Core Logic. So we had tested some legacy lists that were over, a year and a half old since we pulled them and came back and remailed them, and had an improved response rate in those areas where we were struggling. So usually most lists only turn over 8 to 10% a month, if that. So I just did this for a data flick list, or now it's data sift. We went back to January of 25 to January of or to April of 26 and compared those two lists, and 60% of the names were still the same on it. So legacy list, if that's what you're meaning by how old the list is, that stuff, it still has motivated sellers, and most of them are senior owner occupieds, but there are still tired landlords and that in there, that you can still find good deals on. And they're just now getting ready because it's all predictive, that they fit a certain criteria that we're predicting that they're going to sell at some point soon. But non-AI list to AI list, right now it's all how competitive the area is. If it's highly competitive, I'm going non-AI, because everybody else is on AI. So it's just kind of going the opposite flow, like soccer, just reverse the field, and go where they're not, with a better product. So it's one of those that one of the benefits of us is we test a lot of things, and have KPIs kind of everywhere. So, it's definitely, you guys always feel free. My number's right there in the upper corner of my screen. Write that down, ask questions at any time. You get free access to me. And shoot me a text, give me a call. What's up, Mr. Lopez?
Gotta tell them the service is horrendous, guys. Don't pay attention to that shit.
Right. I should turn my screen off so I don't blind you guys. But and Alex can speak to this too. You've played with DataFlick data forever. I was just talking about how in Hillsborough, Florida, I pulled a DataFlick list from beginning of 2025 and just compared it to one in 2026. And there's 60% of the names are still the same. So of most data sets that are out there, there's not a ton of turnover because people typically sell every 7 to 10 years. And I think that even slower now. I don't know if that number's changed, but I think it's slower now because they're still getting stuck on the interest rates, waiting for, either lower interest rates or, that movement time. Everybody's enjoying that 2 and 3%. They're just sitting on that until end of life.
Yeah. I think I checked my DataFlick list over the last 2 months, and it's like a 4 to 12% change from month over to month, depending on the month. So it's not really crazy,
Yeah, I said 8%.
Yeah,
So it's
like
right
that.
in there. Yeah, on average, it's typically 8 to 10%, somewhere in there that has a change over month to month. The other thing we were talking about, Alex, was just data in general of AI to non-AI right now. I'm finding that if it's a highly competitive area, to go non-AI is finding a better response rate because it's finding stuff that the AI is missing or thinks is, because of the program or its thought process, that it puts stuff, scores stuff higher.
I think I showed you that on when I was running the stuff that's rated on DataFlick stuff, where like I was getting like 20%, 25% of stuff that was selling was stuff that was rated like under 20% on their grade
Right.
scale. So it's like, shit, I'm missing a whole bunch of people. So I actually have it layered now where I'm doing a kind of like a
Quarterly.
raw first to market almost type data, right?
Mm-hmm.
In that, and I'm like really deep prospecting that aspect of it, where I'm going out, sending the flyers, doing the whole fucking thing, and then still using the AI data on like broad text messaging or whatever it might be, cold calling, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I mean it all starts there with data. It's like finding the right stuff or the stuff that people are missing, or where the competition isn't. That's the biggest thing on that. That answer your question, Mike? So a little of a long-winded answer.
Yeah, I was just kind of curious as to how many like if you pull an AI list and a regular stacked list, how many of those end up on both lists? Just because, like I said, with our mail, I mean, it's when we switched over to AI, it feels like it's gotten drastically bad, really. Um, but
Well, usually all AI is doing is recalibrating the list that you feed it. But at the same point, it all depends on how they're utilizing that particular AI. When you say AI, everybody thinks it's kind of similar. It's not. All of them are built different on their own thought process. We have two different ones we use here. The one that I found to work the best in your area in Boone is one, it's called Reworked. And all they're doing is going in with about 26 points, looking at uh, the seller's financials, so looking at their credit score, likely to sell under, things like that, like 26, 27 different flags. We also feed our call center back into it. So anything that's qualified there, we feed back into them. So it continues to learn. But our other data set that I ran in there only goes in and looks at the issues in the area and then scores off of those issues in that area. It kind of takes a non-biased approach. Now, though, and then we feed every record through that to find, what we assume would be a fine tooth comb. Of what I did with that, I got zero response rate back for qualified leads in Boone County. But on the reworked one, I stacked the list and then ran it through that to say, hey, these are the best out of that, which is a smaller list. But at the same time, I had a more qualified lead flow. So every AI is going to be different, just like every list puller, when they go to pull it, it's going to be different. The trick to it is knowing your area the best.
yeah,
Is to get down into that data set and then do it on multiple platforms. Do it on a prop stream, do it, because they pull from First American Title, do it on REI Smart Data, which you get free access to through me. Do it on, we can jump on a list source and kind of see what that gets and start to cross reference that. List source is pulling from Core Logic. It's going to be similar to Smart Data, so we can play with a couple different ones to see who's finding what inside of Boone County there.
okay.
It's
Appreciate
so
it.
weird. I don't know. Some people have had trouble getting in. I know Alex did. It's not showing me anybody in the waiting room. Oh well, they're getting the recording. But anybody else got any questions? Walter, Roll,
No, not right now. Not on this. No.
cool.
Yeah.
Alex, we'll go over your deal after Scott's done, your mobile home deal. He's on the phone, so he has a
He's
more
always on
important
the
deal.
phone. He's important.
Scott, I appreciate the heck out of you coming
Mhm.
on.
Yeah, and if anybody ever has questions about lead generation through data, lead generation through direct mail, or even PPL, I'm a free source, and I'm going to give you everything I know to help you guys make a good decision as far as that goes. Feel free to reach out to me, ask questions about your environment, your area, what you're doing, what I see inside of that. Happy to help in any way I can. Also, with like with PPL and that, I'll send you over QR code if anybody wants to look at it or sign up for it. All of them are built different. They're all generating their own leads. And then I like where ours is going. Now that we're kind of getting behind the scenes at it, we're finding quite a few deals inside of it too. So it's kind of one of those, you want to have all marketing channels kind of turned on in some aspect or another, and then you just turn the ones up that are currently working, turn the ones down that aren't.
I like dealing with you, Scott, because you got more business and you know what to do with. So I know you're not just trying to sell
Right.
something.
It's No, and that's our background is ultimately, if we can help you guys find success, what are you going to do? You're going to remember who helped you and continue to use us and tell your friends. I mean, that's our simple philosophy, is I'll give everything away, if I can help you find success. And then I just feel it comes back on the back end. It always goes first full circle. So anything and I apologize because there are weird things in between these years, but your guys got full access to it.
I'll probably throw this particular recording on the podcast too, just to throw it
Yeah.
out there also. So, but
I
yeah,
mean,
yeah,
yeah, it's definitely one that, happy to help any way I can. And, you know, to help you guys grow. So
Cool. Appreciate the hell out of you, Scott. Everybody else, you can stay if you want. We're gonna go over a park deal next, or you
right.
can leave
Don't
too. Whatever the hell you want to
yeah.
do.
Yeah, do me a favor and pick on Alex for me.
I will, man. Have a good day.
All
Appreciate you
right.
again, Scott.
See you fellas. We'll
See
talk to you
ya.
later. Bye.
I'm gonna pull up Alex's deal. I was supposed to help him underwrite the other day, and I did not. All right. Hang on, Alex. Let me find your deal here.
All good, bro.
All right, let's see. Yeah, I don't know. People said they couldn't get in. I don't know what the hell. That's weird. But it's recorded, so we're all right. All right. That's probably why I didn't open this. Probably stressed me out. I don't understand it. There's a lot of so what do you have? What is this? I guess. I don't know. There's a lot of
Bro,
verbiage.
I sent you everything that
Okay.
he sent me because I had done my analysis through
Oh,
my
okay, here's a
shit.
rent roll.
So
Let's do that. I could do a rent
I
roll.
just sent you like all the raw files. So he has rent row. He included shit for another park in there. The guy was kind of all over the place. That's why I sent you the overview of like what he emailed me, like the actual
Cool.
text.
Cool. All right, so let's go ahead and do this. I'm gonna share my screen and I'm gonna show you how I'm gonna underwrite this using AI right now and how my brain ticks when I do it. All right, let's see. So I've got ChatGPT up. That's my preferred AI for this segment. I use Claude for another segment. All right, rent roll. I haven't seen anything else. I'm just having the rent roll. I'm going to have it break it down. I see you updated rent roll. What would you like me to do with it? All right. Can you break it down like a third grader? Oh, we can look at this thing. Yeah, I see a bunch of stuff. I'm just like, eh. My brain doesn't process. Uh, all right, here we go. Park on homes. That means you own the trailer and blah. Okay, blah blah. All right. Just the numbers. I should have said. Just break down the numbers. I should just open the rent roll, I guess. I thought usually it gives me a quick snapshot and I'm done. Should have said give me a snapshot. All right. Anyway, I'm just gonna pull it up. Here we go. All right. This is what I wanted. Uh, here's a simple way. All right, 30 lots, two vacant spots. So minimal up. Here's right off the bat. There's 30, there's two vacant, minimal upside so far. So 28 of these are occupied. All right, meaning there's not a ton of value add unless rents are below market. Five are park owned, 17 are tenant owned, which there's a big rental play here, more so than notes. Six rent to owns, two vacant. All right, lot rent, utilities. All right, so they're getting just off lot rent, they're getting 12,208 a month. Let's see what that is. 12,208 divided by 28. Okay, lot rent's about 436 a month. All right, this is a small for each pad, which is fine. So since it's under 40 units, I would do it just a straight up 2% rule like you would do for a freaking single family. So 12,208 divided by 2% is 152,000. Now what do they want for this thing?
What I have the deal worked out right now where we would put whatever the bank wants back, and he wants us to pretty much leave 150K in the deal. I think it's like 1 point something. I can't remember. I have it in the messenger I sent you.
All right, let me just pull up the rent roll and see if chat's looking at this wrong because that's too far of a stretch on numbers. So there we go. All right, cool.
Because there's another park also that he has like 9 homes on. Remember, he wanted to sell them together.
All right. So all these are like scattered all over the place, or this is all
No, there's one park, and
okay.
then there's a second park in the other spreadsheet.
Okay, this is why they were having trouble. So, well, no, it did it right. It gave me lot rent. All right, this is a badass example. All right, check this out. So this park, it doesn't matter that it's got all this going on because these are rent to owns and rents. The bank ain't giving you crap on this. And all right, this is what matters right here, your lot rent. That's what matters. The 12,208 a month. All right. So you got 12,208, which we can count rent and all that, but let's go ahead and see what this thing would be worth if a bank looked at it. 12,208 times 12 divided by 8%. All right. So you're like at 1.8. 1.8. All right.
Yeah, I think we're at. I sent you the LOI that he marked up. I think we're at 1.75.
Okay.
Yep.
Oh, so this thing's worth 1.8. You can get it for 1.75. That's pretty thin. So let's go ahead and underwrite this thing. It's bringing in a total income right now. Let's see, finance, rent. So total, it's bringing in 12,208 plus. Sorry, these financials just the way he has them kind of tripped me out. So it's bringing in 33 G's gross a month. Um, you're not bad there. Let's run an AM schedule. Is he going to hold any paper?
Yeah, bro. Look at the Look at the doc I sent you. The counter doc. I had sent him an LOI, and then he marked it up and sent it back. It's
Let's
in
check.
Messenger.
Blah, 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 blah. All
Yeah,
right.
go
Schedule, profits, trade win. Where's counter offer?
counter. Yeah, right there, right there. That's what he countered. I was trying to get it with nothing out of pocket, but he countered me a little bit.
Down payment. So this deal has got good. Here's what it's got really good legs. Here's what I don't like. There's not a lot of value at, but we're gonna work through it together and see. Because I want you to make $1 million if you're gonna do one of these.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. The value, the kind of value I was trying to hold on to was being able to get the neighbor's part too, and then combine them because the neighbor has the same
Okay,
size
this is the one
part.
you were telling me that right across the street. Okay.
Yeah, he spoke to the lady. The lady wants to sell, but she hasn't given us anything yet.
All right. This is really good. 6.75%. 25 year, blah, blah, 20% down. He wants 175.
He wants to hold 100. He wants to hold 150,000 on paper for the down payment. If we do 20% down, then that means we would need 200 grand out of pocket total.
All right. So let's look at the value add portion, then we can run an AM schedule. Because I don't know if you looked at the cash flow after you pay all this stuff. Um, like what your cash flow will look like.
I did. I threw all that shit in perplexity, and then you were like, "Don't send me that." So
What did it
I
say? What did it say cash flow look like?
I don't remember. I gotta go back in and look. But I was like, I'm gonna just send you all the actual physical documents, not the
Okay, well,
perplexity.
yeah, I understand now. Okay, cool. So it checks out, but the only bad thing, here's the only bad thing is like, there's not, it's just going to be a cash flow play. You can only fill two spots. So let's look at it. I'm
Yeah.
just going to pull up an AM schedule. Like that's what we can do. Let's run this AM together. What are you going to make? And let's see if it's worth it. All right. So he said 6.75%. At 25-year AM. What the hell did it? Default, that doesn't matter. Okay, he's gonna hold 125 at 6.75. All right. 125 at 6.7.
Well, it's going to be a little bit more than that because you're going to have the back end.
Well, yeah,
You're
I'm
going
gonna
to have
run
that.
that. I'm gonna run that next.
Okay.
All right. So this is our first loan. 8,600 bucks, which looks right to me. 'Cause I just got a loan for 1.2 and my mortgage is 9 grand. All right. And then you have the back end. Oops. Some stuff's popped. All right, the back end, he's holding. Okay, that's another part. Okay, 350. So you're gonna put 350 down, or he's gonna hold 150 of the 350?
Yeah, it's retarded. I think he'll hold more, but yeah.
Okay, so okay, so what are you? All right, I'm just gonna use the calculator. So 350,000 down. Are you borrowing all of it though, or are you gonna put cash for the down payment?
Well, I'm going to need 200K because he's only willing to hold. So
That's what I'm
like,
saying. Is it
I was
all?
trying to I was trying to do the 350 because I originally thought I was going to need 30%. The broker's telling me I'm only going to need 20. So I'm like, all right, cool, 20, but he only wants to hold
Let's keep it simple.
150 of the 20.
How much will he hold it for? Like percent wise?
I think it says on there 8%, I think.
All
Just do
right,
8%.
8%. And did he put an
For
8
40 years, yeah, for 40 years.
40 years? All right, so 2,500 bucks. 2,500 bucks a month. Okay, so total, you're like, let's just call it 12 G's a month debt service.
Okay.
So 12 G's a month debt service. It's bringing in 33 G's. You need to run 50% expense, just quick back of the napkin math, divided by 2, 33,000 divided by 2 is 16,500. All right. So 16,500 minus 12,000 is 4,500 bucks a month in cash flow. Just as long as nothing goes wrong. Um, Here's why this deal's tight. Like you've structured it badass, by the way.
Yeah.
Badass structure. What I don't like is you need more cash flow because like 4,500 bucks goes in your pocket if everything's financed. Let's just call it that because you're probably gonna finance whatever you give to them somehow.
Sure.
So let's call it 4 grand. That's before any crap. You know, crap's gonna
It
happen.
happened. Yeah.
I think you need 10 G's. I think I think you need to make 10 G's a month if you're gonna take this because you don't. How can we structure that? Because you can only fill 2 spots. You can
Yeah.
only, you can only fill 2 spots. Is there any more land?
Nah, there's no more land for him to infill or nothing on there. The other small park was what he wants to sell together with it.
Okay. And the other is it's close by?
It's within 30 minutes, he said.
I don't know. It's tight, bro. That's all I'm saying. 4 G's is tight a month.
Yeah, no. I just thought like, hey, if I make that, keep it for appreciation if I'm in it for no money. But if I'm in it for 200K, it's not as good of a deal.
I think it's too much.
Yeah, it's too much.
I think let's run here. Here's what I think. Let's just run one because right now you're essentially giving them like 1.7 something, right? Let's just say 1.2 is the number. I don't know. Well, we already know what that is. 1.2 is that you get 2,500 bucks in your pocket. you're at 6,500 a month. You don't have any. I mean, you have no upside, is what I'm saying. It's like I think you got to get a killer deal on this to do it. I think you got to be even less than $1 million, just cash flow wise. Unless you just want it, like unless there's like improvements I don't know of. Like, is there lot rent? Can you get higher lot rent? Maybe in the areas people charging more than 450 per lot. I'm just talking through this. Where's this at? Um, maybe it could tell me.
It's in Maryland. The demographics look good as far as income and all that.
Let's see. What's
I
what's
wasn't looking for a lot of the value add stuff because you're like, you don't want to get into infilling lots. And I was like, all right, fuck it. I had a couple of those. I was like, no, I'm not going to look at it.
well, let me show you a scenario here. But look, average lot rent um for a mobile home park, Cumberland. Let me show you a scenario. So damn, that's a big difference. Trade winds mobile home park lot rents are anywhere from 600 to 1,400 a month. That's state in Cumberland. Lots. You might look. Okay, here we go. Practical. And Cumberland expects 6 to 800 bucks, but his lot rents are at 430. So, like, is that the value add? Like, because
Just upping the rents.
so say that you got 600 a month. Let's run this scenario now. You got, you got. Okay, I think I know how to flip this here. So
Think
let's.
buy and go from 430 to 600. People are going to stay.
What if you made it the same number, but you just made the lot rent higher? So it's valuated on a higher number. Because you're not doing anything wrong if your comps are 6 to 800 a month. Verify it.
Yeah.
But let's say you can get 600 a month lot rent. Um, where the hell was that rent?
I'm
Boom.
going to run that on my system here. Let me see.
All right, so check this out. All right. Here's the value add. This is what I'm saying. You can infill lots and stuff, but what I'm saying is like a value add. Like you need to have the lots to be able to infill. Or
Yeah. The value add is his lots are too fucking low.
right. So let's say you got 600 times 28. Now you're at 17 G's a month. All right. Now we're talking. So just lot rent. All right. And then you you multiply that by 12. Divided by 2, divided by 8%. Dude, you're at 1, 2 before you're at 1, 2. I like this a lot better. Um, I like that a lot better, but you're still at 1, 2 valuation wise for just lot rent. You'll cash flow a lot better. Maybe you can run 40. You can run 40% expenses. Let's put it at 40% expenses. And sorry, y'all, if y'all 600 times 28 times 12 minus 40%. I'm trying to see what number you can get at that makes sense. Divided by 8%. If you ran at 40% expenses, you
I'm coming up. The average rents in that area are 4 to 600 on my side.
okay. You'd have to be at 600 to get it to be worth 1.5.
To
Um,
make it make sense, I'd have
to,
to be at 600.
you'd have to be at 600 and it'd be worth 1.5. But then you'd have to get it. Your number right now doesn't make sense. I think you're buying it retail. That's why it's
Yeah,
penciling. That's why it's like just it's
barely
not
penciling.
barely penciling. I think you're right at retail. Um, I think 1.5 is what it'd be worth if you got the rents up to 6. So if you were to be like, "Hey Travis, you got to buy this," I'd have to be like 800 G's to make money, to make good money.
God damn.
But you see the exercise because like You can look at it another way if you want.
Yeah.
You can look at the cash flow now because you increased your cash flow. If you got lot rents of 600, you cash flow 9 grand a month. It's only gonna be worth 1.5 though. So you don't get the upside down the road. You don't get both. What do you think?
I think we don't buy the shit then.
Yeah. I can kick back and be like, bro, it makes sense. Whatever. That's just how I'm seeing it. I think you
Oh
want to
no,
be.
because it doesn't make sense because then I gotta, if there's a balloon on the second portion of it, I'm gonna have to come out of pocket for that.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Yeah.
So if I did say don't get into infill, I think you should have the extra lots to be able to infill. Because check this scenario out, bro. This is what I think would be awesome for you or anybody, and they're everywhere.
Give me
But
something, because I've been looking at these bitches for 5 months now.
okay,
I've submitted so many of these fucking LOIs. I'm just like nothing's penciling out the right way.
okay. So say you find 40 lots. I'm just gonna give you a good scenario.
Sure.
Perfect. Like, Travis, what do I buy right now? And don't, I'm not looking at nothing else. All right. I would say look for 40 lots, 20 of them are rented, 20 are vacant. All right. And lot rents could be below or at, doesn't matter. Below would be great. Your comps, but below or at, and plenty of room to improve it, to value that. So this is what that looks like. So you've got, let's just say lot rent is $500, all right, and you've got 20 lots full, so you're at 10,000 a month, all right. Multiply that by 12, divided by 2, and divided by 8%. Right now it's worth 750. All right. Since it's under 40 lots, tell me to back up if it doesn't make sense. Does that make sense? Hey, you're gonna at least get an 8 cap from the bank. They're gonna give you between
Yeah.
5 and 7 probably, but I overshoot everything. So let's say the bank screwed you. You got a valuation for 750 as is. Well, if it's 40 lots or under, I use freaking 2% rule for just quick math, but I'll go to that in a minute. Let's say that you filled the other two, that you bought it. Let's just say you bought it. Don't buy it for 750. I'm gonna show you what to buy it for. But say you bought it for 750 and you filled the 20 lots. It's worth 1.5 million now, or whatever the hell that
Yeah.
number is, right? Like, just because you filled 20 lots, you made $750,000 for
Just
filling
for filling twin lots.
20 vacancies. That's the crap you want to look for. And I don't think people are looking for it. Besides, like, you got your people out, like gurus and stuff, but like the people don't know to look for that. And it's like, dude, if I just said, hey, I'm gonna write you a check for 750 G's if you could fill these 20 spots, your ass be doing that. That's all you'd be
I
doing.
fill them bitches in 2 weeks.
You wouldn't be doing anything else.
Nothing
Nothing.
else. Nothing
And you
else.
do it too. You get it done.
Yeah, yeah.
And here's the other thing is, like, 40 units or less, you can run it at a 10 cap if you want, or you just say real quick, like $10,000 divided by 2%, $500,000. 40 or less, I use 2% real quick. Lots total. And so now you bought something for 500,000 that's worth 750 as is, that you can make another 750 on real quick. But say they're like, hey, we'll hold paper. And I know everybody's trying to do all the creative don't even worry about, like, if they want the money down, who gives a crap what it is? If they'll hold enough paper, I'll help you find it or whatever. Partner, I don't care. But so let's say $10,000, times 12 divided by 2. If you wanted to run a 10 cap, 10%, you're at 600,000. So if you're okay with that, which is okay, by all means,
Yeah.
a 10 cap with a chance to make, 600 G's, another 700 G's is okay.
Yeah.
That's how I look at these, and that's what your first park I would zone in on. How
So
do I
that's what I'm gonna do then. I'm gonna just look for shit that I can infill.
infill or raise rents? You know, like you might find one like wherever you're looking, look what lot rent ranges are, and you might find one that you not might you will. You'll find lot rents are at 300 and lot rents in the area are 600. You're like, holy hell, I could double the value of this park. People do it every day, bro. I could double the value of this park just by increasing lot rent. And I don't even have to increase the total monthly. I could just take the lot rent away from the rent or the rent, whatever, and put it to lot rent.
All right, changing my strategy.
Does that make
On,
sense?
on May 12th, throwing everything I did out the fucking window. I
That's
gotta get.
part of
Told you I want to get two this year. I gotta get one.
that's part of it, bro.
Okay, that's fine. I'm good with it. It makes that is actually a lot easier for me to mentally process.
I want you to make big money.
Yeah.
So on both sides, like yeah, cash flow and I'm gonna get paid too at the end. Like when all this is
Yeah.
done, you know. So hell yeah. Cool.
Well, fuck, if you find three of those a year, I mean, and they're out there because I've seen them. I've
They're
just passed.
there. They're
I
there.
think I sent you one where it was like there was like fucking 60 spots that needed to infill. And I think at that time you were like 100 plus, let's buy that shit. So
Yeah.
I was like, all right, I'll pass it on this. But I'll circle back to see what I can find.
It's gonna be a lot of energy to do, but like run the math. Hey, what will this be worth? Like I'm gonna give you an example. There's one down the road from a park I bought last year. They've got 88 spots. They're at 50% vacancy. Well, they wanted 2 million bucks. I offered them $1 million. Right now they're at 1.1. And I'm like, no, I'm at a million. And they're like, what, bro? And I'm like, yeah, I've told you I'm at a million. Here's why. Me going through this, it is so much work, bro. It's worth it, but I know I can get that park worth 3 million when I look at the end in mind. But it's gonna take all day, every day to get it full. But
I
I'm
mean,
mentally
fuck, like how long is it going to take you to fill out like that? Just off the top of your head, like, just what do you think?
so I'm gonna give you real time, real market analysis right now because I'm filling 140 unit right now spot.
Okay.
My VAs and me. So right now it's taking me a month to fill 3 spots.
God, fuck.
Rent to own. But get this. 3 spots is $3,000 a month. Times 12, you're at $36,000 NOI. What's that divided by 8%? I created 450,000 dang dollars in a month. You can look at it that way too,
Yeah.
you know? So the reason it's creating me that is
So this is a project that, like, hey, it's going to take you 6 months to a year to fill the whole thing.
this is gonna take people don't understand. And the reason it's gonna speed up, but I'm in a different area right now. So like we're building vendors lists, we're building process. So it's gonna start speeding up after this first round. But we're getting in with the city. They're being slow on permits. But once we get to know everybody, it's gonna start speeding up.
The same concept that my commercial friend I told you about before
Yeah.
does. Like, he
Yeah.
buys one building, everybody's like, don't buy that fucking office building. He goes in there and he just relentlessly focuses for 6 months on filling the building up, and now it's worth fucking 3x what he paid for it.
Right. You get all the relationships and then you just
Yeah.
that's all I'm doing is right now is like filling lots.
Yeah.
So cool. Well
Okay.
yeah, good seeing y'all. Thank y'all for hopping on today.
When I find a couple, I'm gonna send you them.
Send them. Yeah.
All right. Cool, bro. Talk to
Hey.
you.